And we are live on Discovery Paranormal, I think. You know what? It's not an exact science, man. Every time I use this, we use this service, this the quacking duck, you know, StreamYard. I see these commercials for StreamYard, and they're boasting and all kinds of stuff, and it's all right. I mean, what we used before was good too, maybe even a little better in my estimation. But you know what? It's like you're having a seance and you're trying to hear each other. Can you hear me? Are you there? Can you talk to me? Can you show yourself? So, yeah, here we are on Discovery Paranormal. And it's funny because tonight's show is about communication and about alien communication. I hear a lot of alien talk and I don't like it. I'm going to rant for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes on this major league douche, John DeSalvo. He used to be on United Public Radio Network, and he was ousted, whatever. I don't know what he's gone. And Joe Montaldo, who runs network, as network owns network, was doing a show and invited me on also, like kind of in the middle of the mix. He was talking to this guy John DeSalvo, and Joe adds me in. We start talking like we normally do, joking around and doing our thing, And this guy's like, "Ugh," like this John DeSalvo. He's got this squeaky, like dog squeaky voice. It's like he got a dog squeaker stuck in his throat, and when he raises his voice, it goes into like squeak. He started squeaking at me, Well, that's fine. Thank you. Good night, sir. Hang up. And he wanted me off the show. He didn't want to talk about things or interesting stuff. All right, that's cool. So then I'm watching this. This is like a couple years later. I'm watching Ancient Aliens. And first, I have to say, I have lost all respect for that show because they put this guy John DeSalvo on there, some kind of expert, when it comes to Egypt and whatever. Let me tell you, man. One thing, the guy's parents raised him wrong. They didn't raise him with respect. They didn't raise him to be kind. They didn't raise him to be a decent person. So, and then you have the whole expert thing. Anybody can say they're expert in aliens because nobody's ever made the connection, technically speaking, with aliens that they can prove, except for abductees and people like that, people who claim they've been abducted. Whatever, man. I'm just gonna say to John DeSalvo, you are not a nice person, and you had the chance to be nice. You know what? It has to do with respect and self-respect. And this happened a long time ago, but it reignited when I saw his ugly face on Ancient Aliens. And this was an old Ancient Aliens. They haven't had him back. It's just kind of like it got me like, ugh, that show. If that's who they're gonna have on there to be their so-called experts, then what are you doing? What are you doing? And I know they're on there to make money. I know these shows, these ghost shows, whatever. They produce no evidence. They have no conclusions. They have no nothing. They got nothing. Lots of questions. Sometimes people make bold statements of what they think. It's like a bunch of monkeys trying to guess at something really technical. It doesn't work. So my mother raised me with respect, self-respect. I'm kind. I'm a decent person, I think. Unless someone pushes me, man, and then you kick the bull, you're gonna get the horns, man, right? But and that's the way you live your life. You don't let people take advantage of you. You don't let people walk all of you. You don't let people be nasty to you and be rude like that. But that's because the guy's got no self-respect. Anyway, that's the end of my rant. It didn't last that long. I don't want it to be overkill, and talk somebody up who's virtually insignificant, except for just being a slimy slug that crawls on the ground and leaves a trail of slime. Anyway, so I'm thinking about aliens, right? My meager existence, humdrum life. I'm thinking about aliens and people who claim this, claim that. They have the experts. The experts. Same thing for if you watch a travel channel. They don't travel anymore. They're astral traveling now. They're talking about ghosts and this and Bigfoot and whatever. The travel channel has morphed into what it is now. And that's fine. You know what? People want to have that ghost on tape or whatever. 90, probably 90% of them are just acted out, made up, bogus, manufactured, right? And some of the stuff could be a little real, but you have to, if you've been around that type of stuff long enough, you kind of know what is and what isn't by the gut feeling and what you're seeing and what you're taking part in. Or anyway, so but it all comes down to communication. If you're looking for ghosts, you're looking for a Bigfoot, you're trying to catch an alien or two, you want communication. If an alien popped up in front of your face, what are you gonna say to him? You know, like what's your beef with anal probing? I mean, what's that all about? You come to this planet billions of light years from whatever crap hole planet you came from, just to do that to us? Stupid, stupid. So yeah, I mean, everybody's got their reasons for things. Why does a dog smell the same crotch 10,000 times? You think that they've been there, done that, and then they log. Maybe got a short attention span. Maybe the alien technology is really awesome, but they're inherently stupid. Maybe they let the technology take control of their lives. You just see how people are with their smartphones. They lose their smartphone. They walk around oh, I can't believe it. Oh, I don't know what it is. Have a panic, because you lost your smartphone. People asking the questions. Hey Siri, or Alexa, whatever the hell they do. They're little AI buddies, right? You're being groomed for an electronic existence. So maybe these aliens have gotten to that point. Maybe they're just a bunch of bumblefucks going on, in this really sophisticated equipment that kind of just runs on its own. And then the only thing that they can really gather is like, hey, let's do some anal probing. It'd be fun. It's Saturday night, Eastern Texas, cruising along. There's got to be some dude in the pickup truck we could swoop in on. Always. You know what I mean? Always. Give them some selected memories, have a chuckle, have a laugh. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like their existence. What else? What else do they do? What else do they? I like to think that if you're a being and I mean, life is survival, right? No matter what you are. Doesn't matter if you're a little bacteria, doesn't matter if you're a human, doesn't matter if you're a whale. Life is about survival. It's nice to have fun while you're surviving, though. It's nice to have fun in those little incremental bits and pieces in between while you're surviving. Otherwise it's all just kind of a struggle, and that sucks. And that it's kind of like that for most people. But even on any level, I mean, there's people, the poorest people in the world, can still have a laugh at something, right? But anyway, how do you communicate with these buggers, right? And you watch your ancient aliens, you watch these things, and they just pontificate. They talk about just weaselly nothing, man. Even that guy with the crazy hair, George Tsoukalos, right? What have they discovered? What have they found? That's my thing. I like an end game. I want to know the outplan. I want to have evidence. I want to see what's going on. When I do a paranormal investigation, I come out of it with evidence. Got voices, got pictures, got all kinds of stuff. Otherwise it wouldn't be worth doing. It wouldn't be worth what? Did I tell a story? I'm going to tell you some story about a place. That's boring. But that's what these guys do. My mom, she used to watch this that Oak Island or whatever. I don't even know what the hell it's called. Maybe that's called that. These dudes are forever drilling on this Oak Island, trying to find stuff, right? Looking for the Holy Grail or whatever they do. They've kept this show running year after year with some kind of level of popularity. And And it's mind-boggling because they never find anything. They find a spoon, or a coin. A big freaking deal. I found a spoon. That's like the advent. Like that's like the whole thing for their season. That's like the grand finale. They find a spoon. We found a spoon buried a couple inches deep, and while examining the spoon, one of our guys is off having some ice cream with it right now. And he's trying to get a little personal. Well, we think it's dated back at some time in some place. We're just not sure. So I said to my mom, "What do they find?" She's like, "Nothing." I'm like, "Well, why do you watch this show?" And she's like, "In case they find something." Or you just wait for them to find something when it's a news story. You look at the news story. No fun in that. But that's all these shows. That's what do they do? What do any of these shows do? Reality show. Ugh, I don't care. Bobby Brown's reality. I don't care. I don't care. I didn't like him then. I don't like him now. I'm not gonna like him tomorrow. And it's very crap is on TV. Tells you how messed up people are. You know what I mean? I was just reading a news story about in Brooklyn, these thieves broke into this Catholic church and made off with this thing that $2 million. $2 million. Now that Catholic Church is offering 50,000 to get it back, they know nothing about negotiation, do they? But just the fact that a church, a religious organization, has something worth $2 million while people are starving on the same block tells you what is wrong with the whole thing. So when you communicate with aliens, you got to give them something, man. Because I don't want to talk to you unless you can give me something. I don't want to talk to you, you know, unless I'm going to learn something from you. Otherwise, what's the point? I could just observe you like monkeys in the zoo, have fun. But if you've noticed when it comes to these, I'll call them alien engagements, they have become frequent. Many of them, shadowing Navy vessels and that type of thing. Very ocean oriented. So it seems like there's just more and more of it, and it's not, yeah, the government's doing a little bit more. I hate even to say reporting. The government's releasing things they have to because they've baffled people with BS for too long, and now people aren't all that stupid anymore. Or I should say ignorant. Just uneducated people are ignorant, right? They don't know what the deal is. That's ignorance. Stupid is stupid. Stupid is stupid does. Stupid is stupid. You can't fix stupid. You're not going to educate stupid. Stupid is stupid. So when it comes to communication, let's say one of them landed in 42nd Street, popped the hatch, came out, and said, "Hey, hey." Nobody would even notice. Have to be different place in New York City or San Francisco. There's got to be some place where it's more like unexpected. You would see something like that. They would just people just think it's another character like Naked Cowboy or something, and end up giving the alien a couple of bucks. Can I pose with a picture with you, this alien, Miss Sir? Yeah, they're talking to you in telepathy. Sure, sure. Can I probe you while you have this picture taken? Now that would be something to bring home. Like, let me do this while you do that. I'd say. So anyway, it comes down to this. All right. Let me get on with the show. All right. Oh, all right, we're back. Man, oh man, I think the Men in Black got me. And I totally forgot what I was talking about. Just kidding. So, yeah, we got bounced off somehow. It's very weird. You know how I said that StreamYard stinks? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, man. All right, let's get away from that and think about use something else in the future, man. Let's see. Told that New Orleans is having internet issues. See, that's Joe Montaldo. They know he's out there. They're gonna get the aliens gonna get you, Joe. They're on to you. So I don't believe anything until I can and it manifests in front of me. I've had some weird experiences. I've seen lights in the sky. I've seen all kinds of stuff, and I had that whole Montauk experience that was really horrible. And you know, but not because of the bright light in the sky, more because of everything that happened thereafter. But it comes down to this: there's a timeline and there's a story. You've got ancient Indians, and let's talk in terms of time. A couple thousand years ago, Jesus Christ was walking around, right? All the stuff happening in that time, which is a little before that. You had you Moses. Nobody really knows when that was. More like Noah. Nobody really knows when Noah was about. Moses is a little bit before. They can kind of pinpoint a time frame, but that's all within a couple thousand years ago, maybe a little bit more. I think the whole Moses thing is much longer. We don't have time to talk about that though. Anyway, I want to talk about 12 to 13,000 years ago on the Earth. This was basically the end of the Ice Age, and there's Paleo Indians. There was also out west the Fremont, and these people were delivered by the ant people who had big heads, big eyes. They drew pictures of them in Moab. I centered the area on Moab is basically where they were delivered. And these people went and they spread out from then on, and they built monuments and they did things. They did things they were instructed to do, like Chaco Canyon, which was a meeting place for all these different Indian tribes, like the Anasazi and all that. You had Hopi Indians, the Navajo. So this became a trading place. It became a place to gather. So I'm saying this at the same time around the world in Turkey, there's a hill called Potbelly Hill, right? They found similar, almost the same drawings they found in Moab and some of these other places of really the first people that emerged from whatever. They said that they were brought underground. This is the Native American story. They were brought underground. And this is more than 10,000 years ago. So these stories are very important to Native American people. And it's not like stories today, which aren't important at all, right? I mean, depending on you don't have to, like, let's just say no one's talking about the Daily Show and passing that on for generations to come. These are stories of the creators. These are stories of these ancient masters. These were stories that were important, and also people pass them down with pride. It's not just something that's taken lightly. It doesn't get altered over time. These stories are told exactly a certain way for a certain meaning, right? So, here you have again eerie figures with giant heads found painted in a rock shelter in Tanzania. So, and you have these around the world. You'll have your ancient alien people point to all of these things that were built basically to coincide with what's going on, in the sky, right? The pyramids, Stonehenge, whatever. They can pinpoint all this. They act like they've discovered something amazing when they find these things match up to to Orion's belt or whatever, whatever the point. All right, and it's funny to me because why wouldn't they? You're humans. You're roaming the earth. You got nothing to do. Ain't no Amazon movies. Ain't no like going on. You're bored. You have sex. You make little humans. You hunt for food, and then you look in the sky. You watch the sky. You watch the beautiful stars. You watch the moon go around. You watch the sun go around. Whatever. So of course they would pay homage to that, especially the ones that stars are always in the same place, aren't they? They would realize that, know that, but was there something that came down and showed these people how to survive? I firmly believe that. But did they come down or were they already here? So to call them aliens, I guess in a loose term, if you're talking about borders of what's an alien, you know, but if they were here first and they developed human beings from whatever various methods, and if you look at DNA and you look at genes, you can put the big picture together that everything everything on this planet has a connection uh, with basically four elements: A, C, T, and G, and that makes up your DNA in different codes. You can code it to give people blue eyes. You can code it to give people brown eyes. You can do all kinds of stuff. Look at the equipment we have today. Look at the electronics we have today. You know, we still have humans on the planet running around loincloths with spears they kill their animals, and do that every day. But we also have an arm of people that are technologically advanced with electronics, if you want to call it that, you know, more advanced, you might say, but technologically advanced, right? Coming up with different things, different methods. Yeah, look at all that 3D printing and all the stuff going on. I mean, it's pretty amazing, the truthfully really amazing what's happening in our technological world. So imagine a different species, because the earth has a lot of different species, and maybe the chickens are in trouble, you know what I mean, because we eat them. There's species that probably aren't very happy with people, but humans are pretty much the top of the food chain, unless you're out there swimming and a shark grabs you or something, right? But there's other animals on the planet. Those animals communicate. We all have a pineal gland between us, your cat, your dog, whatever. And this is largely thought to be the third eye. This is largely thought to be something that can intercept and also give telepathic thought, right? So if you're talking aliens, uh, not likely they would talk with their mouths, right? And all these grays, they people call them grays. How do you know that they're humanoid at all? How do you know that they're just not some kind of drone that's out there on its own probing people? Or like I said before, that they're just blithering idiots because their technology is so advanced. They're stupid, right? And that's all they can do is probe. Let me stick my finger in it. I mean, like, I want to understand where these stories come from. I know that a lot of these people are nuts. I know. I'm not going to play like that doesn't exist, that the kooky people run to the paranormal, because it's a kooky world. You're asking people to believe in things that you can't necessarily muster. I have pictures. I could show you pictures. I have voices, but you still have to take my word for it. You know that you weren't there, and oh, you could have doctored this or did that or whatever. If I was doing that, I certainly wouldn't come out with a couple little pictures. I'd have a lot more going on. But I see people on the internet, their house is haunted and the ball rolls by itself or whatever. They have all this, like I said before, over 90% of that's just bunkola, because people want the attention. They want a hoax. They want to put that out there, right? Which actually hurts the world of true investigators. So, but this one in Tanzania, the site named Amaki Amaki 4, was elaborately painted with a frieze figurative art, including three mysterious anthropomorphic uh, anthropomorphic figures with extreme oversized heads. They all have big heads. So, but this has been also found in other places. But if you want to trace back to that, there's very interesting pictures, But if you want to trace it back, right, to that 13,000 years, to the end of the ice age, you got to look to Turkey and Potbelly Hill. You got to look to Moab, and you have to, in Utah. You have to think about these places. If you were an alien and you're going to place people around, that'd be the place to do it, right? Think about it. 13,000 years ago, end of the ice age, lots of food, giant sloths. You ever see the depiction of those things? You also had all kinds of other animals roaming around, right? But this is what mankind needed to survive: food, water, shelter. The ant people showed the Native Americans how to build shelters in the rock walls, how to protect themselves, from each other, basically. So I'm just saying, I like it. I'm saying that to me is real. All the other stuff, people can sit there all they want and look to these so-called experts. What's an expert really? You know, I think that, yeah, if you're a master carpenter and you have the equipment, the knowledge, you got the skills, and you're an expert in building, I'll give you that. There's lots of experts in this that world, right? Expert mechanic, expert musician, But in the paranormal world, when you don't have any evidence to go by except your own, hey, what do I think, which doesn't mean anything, because who cares what you think? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell difference does it make? What the hell you think? It comes down to what we know so far, what the military has released, and that's what I like. I like hearing the real stuff. I want to hear from pilots that are out there who have encountered these things, and these people fly for a living. They know everything in that sky. They've seen it all, everything, clouds, this, that, lightning, ball, lightning, whatever, man. This is the real deal, right? So here you go. Stunned by UFOs, exasperated fighter pilots get little help from the Pentagon, which is no surprise, because the Pentagon and NASA still they try to act like I don't know, it doesn't exist, which it's just it holds you back. I think that kind of mentality holds people back. This is a governing body responsible for representing people. It's important that people have and understand information. I know you're not going to have the big crowds of people running through the streets going crazy, the alien invasion, if they just have an understanding of what's going on. you know Already people have enough trouble with people, right? You can't handle it. Maybe a little alien stuff would calm those freaks out, right? So in April 2014, of course, four naval aviators narrowly escaped disaster as they entered a highly controlled airspace for a training exercise. The two FA-18F fighter jets nearly collided with an unidentified flying object. To the frustrations of dozens of their fellow aviators, such a near catastrophe was inevitable. For months before and after the incident, air crews flying in exclusive use training areas off the U.S. East Coast frequently observed unknown objects exhibiting highly anomalous flight characteristics. Despite the collision hazard posed by UFO aviators, lacked a formal mechanism to report the mysterious objects. See, which is a huge problem because then they can't tell you. You file a report, back in the day, not even all that long ago, even still sometimes these guys file a report like that, they're not flying anymore. They've done themselves in. They like deemed they think you're nuts and that's it. And this was going on. Same thing for commercial pilots. Same thing for anybody who's up there flying. They don't want to lose their job. Their job is their livelihood. These guys didn't want to get ousted out of the military. These Top Gun guys. That's all they were aiming for, right? take that away from them. So it's a common thing. And it was also common not to say anything, right? So, all right. So, with aviation safety alerts as their only recourse, frustrated aviators and their commanders noted that the UFOs posed a severe threat to naval aviation and a critical risk to flight safety. Just days before the April 2014 incident, the squadron's exasperated commander wrote that it is only a matter of time before there results in a midair collision. You see, but then there'd be something. I hate to say, but if you're that pilot and you got this thing, and here's this thing, oh man, I'll smash right into that UFO and I'll eject myself. Sasoon! Then you've got something. You got some kind of wreckage. You got something, or it doesn't happen at all, or they avoid it. The UFO avoids it completely. That's it, and you just launched your FA-18 in the Pacific. A few weeks earlier, the skipper of I feel the same way about Bigfoot. If some hunter put them down, you'd have something. It's evidence, man. Does that sound terrible? Audubon, the Audubon Society, they love birds, they protect birds. Do you know how they studied all those birds? They killed them. They killed them and they studied them. They killed them. They painted them. They killed them and they molded them into clay. You know? So all I'm saying, if you like chicken, you know where to get some. Right? you go to the Colonel. Oh, not that greasy pit. How about you buy some chicken? You need tangible proof. You want your chicken tenders. You want Bigfoot. Oh, I saw Bigfoot running through the woods. No, no, no. I want to hear I shot Bigfoot in the ass and now he's in the ER. He's in the ER at the zoo. They're checking him out. That's what I want. Ooh, there's an alien up in the sky. No, I just crashed my plane into that bastard. Yeah, now you got the alien wreckage. Maybe some other stuff, whatever they've got. So you need tangible evidence. You need proof. Proof. The proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? All right. So despite the frequency of the encounters and the severity of the hazard, it took the Navy 5 years to adopt a formal UFO reporting structure. The first batch, and this is the latter part of the 2014 to 2019. So the first batch of these reports heavily redacted, of course, which means they block everything out. And spanning only a few months in 2019, makes clear that the U.S. government faces a significant challenge. So this is over here, the reporting agency, right? They put a couple of million into it, I think. Two million, I remember. The government spends $2 million on toilet paper in a month. So to put $2 million in some kind of reporting agency shows you that they're not really serious. And because on the other side, they have a larger reporting agency that collects all this data that you don't know about because it's top secret. So this thing is for the people. It's to throw people a bone. And look, I know you see these lights in the sky. I know you're being anally probed, and we understand. We have heard you, and we're gonna do nothing about it, but we're gonna tell you that we are, because we can't do anything about it because they probed us too. That's all. You hear that, General? I got probed too. God damn it! I remember I probed me back in Nam. It took me in one of the saucer crafts. Little bastards couldn't even move. You start hearing all these stories, and they dropped me off some nudie bar, and I just stayed because I didn't know what to do, and had a lot of dollar bills in my pocket, unusually. You know what I mean? So that's the deal. They don't want to know. Don't ask, don't tell. And of course, you've had your Project Stargate from back in the day and all kinds of experiments and this going on. The crash in Roswell, I don't believe that was an alien craft. They got it all wrong. It may have been, I think it was a combination of things, but you're talking about, this is after we had gotten all this technology from Hitler and their scientists, and they had come up with some kind of saucer craft that they were using, different, but but whatever, man. It could have been easily a combination of things, but I don't think that aliens would. I don't think that their equipment would be faulty like that. But like I said, I have a sneaking suspicion that they're not brainiacs. But all right, I could be wrong. I just don't get all the abduction stuff, because humans are very boring. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. Yet another pilot report states that she had never seen redacted like it. So there you go. Dot dot dot. The UFO did not change position like an aircraft would, and was too high to be a ship. So what do we know about these things? What do we know about these craft? We know they can change shape. We know they can go easily from 80,000 feet down to sea level, then into the water with no splash, and go 500 knots underneath the water. They've been tracked them doing that. You know, you're talking about something that doesn't leave a heat trail, and I don't know. Really, when they started discovering these things on radar is when they built a new radar. Raytheon Group had, built this new radar system, and that's when they started seeing them. So for fighter pilots armed with their big array of advanced sensors, they have all the stuff. They have the coolest stuff, the coolest stuff. The confusion and bewilderment reflected in the reports is striking. One aviator had a difficult time explaining the redacted. Right? In another incident, a pilot could only describe a UFO in a puzzled voice over the radio. Yet another aviator described a UFO that appeared, as odd as it sounds, to be redacted. So yeah, you're not going to know what's going on. Let's these people retire and they're not afraid to talk. Former Navy pilot Ryan Graves served with the aviators involved in the 2014 near collision. In an interview, Graves was asked, and now he's a vocal advocate, of course, for aviation safety via sober scientific investigation of UFOs. He was asked about the recent report. You know what he said? He said, redacted. I'm just kidding you. All right. He says, I see a frustration. I see confusion about what the aviators are seeing. Graves said, that's not normal language in the UFO reports. That's not how we operate. Graves, it should be noted, is not your run of the mill former fighter pilot. The only member of his officer candidate school class selected to fly fighter jets. Graves advanced rapidly, flying his first combat mission in less than 2 weeks after completing training. Paired with a weapon systems officer, Graves was among only 2 or 3 air crews in a Navy fighter squadron selected as airborne forward air controllers. Soon thereafter, he was, so let's say he's the big muckety muck, right? He's got all the medals and all the fruit salad up on his chest, right? Soon thereafter, he was among only 2 air crews in his entire air wing selected to control ultra sensitive missions, rescuing friendly personnel from hostile territory. So he's a badass. That's badassery right there. To top it off, Graves became his squadron's head landing signal officer and, following rigorous hands-on training, served as an aviation safety officer. So he's not the kook. He's not the kook that's been living in his mother's basement all of his life, saying he was abducted and probed and this is what happened. I mean, I'm not going to discount those people because I love those stories. As kooky. I mean, sometimes it's really weird. You ever like watch someone who's completely cracked, and just watch them crack further, and you know, there's yeah, they could be abducted and have all kinds of psychological problems because of that, for whatever, or maybe they weren't all there to begin with. This guy was the top gun Top Gun's Top Gun. So I'm going to put him on a high level because he is up there flying around and he is engaged in these things. All right. So, all right. For Graves, 8 years of relative government inaction since his squadron's 2014 near collision is unacceptable. It's a demonstration of ignoring the needs of their operation. That's the bottom line. So he's upset, right? Referring to a recent congressional hearing on UFOs, Graves drove this point home, saying it's the last hearing. It was presented as we don't know what these objects are, but everything's under control. Hey, look at this video. It kind of looks like a balloon. Uh, he said that I thought was disingenuous, especially after we consider the language of the aviators are using in this declassified UFO reports. You actually think a Top Gun pilot doesn't know what a goddamn balloon is? Not going to, fly past a balloon? Or do you think the Top Gun pilot is going to see these things that they've never seen before, and maneuver how they maneuver like they've never seen before and understand that what their maneuvers are impossible if there's a human being in there? Because you wouldn't be able to take those G's. You wouldn't be able to be the person that goes from 80,000 feet down to sea level in 2 seconds and live. You'd be borscht, basically. Okay. All right. Pointing to several accounts in which aviators appear to methodically rule out mundane explanations for the UFO encounters, Graves said, to the best of their ability, these men and women are not putting their balloon sightings on this form. They are ruling out as much as they can. Importantly, Graves said aviators have a lot of paperwork to do. They don't want to fill out these forms, for easily explained objects. I expect reporting mechanisms are only revealing a small part of the problem. I bet you those reports and the stuff that these guys are talking about, I bet you that's maybe 5%, maybe not even that much of all of the sightings that actually happen, you know, around the world by not just us, but other military, other, airlines and that type of thing. So, if you ever watched the NASA channel and they have, you can go on YouTube and find these little bits of light floating past the space station, or they have these videos, and usually when that happens, NASA switches off and they switch to something else. It seems to me, especially recently, you have Navy ships where these objects were, the Nimitz, there were these objects were floating above it for several minutes, and they didn't know what they were, and they couldn't track them, and you know it wasn't Russia, it wasn't China, it wasn't any of that stuff because we'd be shooting a missile at it otherwise. There's an understanding of what these things are in a weird way. We're looking at them, they're looking at us, right? We can't really see them per se, but we know of their presence. We know that they're there. It's not put there by accident. These aren't hoaxes. It may be a percentage of sure, but when it comes to the military and what they're dealing with, it sounds right on, right? So here we go. According to Graves, we'd go on a flight in the morning, they'd be out there. You go on a flight in the evening, they're out there. They were pretty much always when we were out there. Asked whether the UFOs could be mundane objects, and I read that already, but he said that I see those near airports, I see those over the continental U.S., but I don't see those in our working areas. You know, and these are their sensitive areas where it's restricted airspace to begin with. And he said, we're way out there in some cases, hundreds of miles out to sea, and yet there's air traffic operating, and they're operating in a way they are befuddling our aviators. And in the mysterious objects, if the mysterious objects were drones, Graves speculated either they have some source of energy that allows them to stay airborne for very long periods of time with no heat trail, uh, if not thousands, involving hundreds, if not thousands of drones and boats they are constantly launching and landing from. He said, we haven't seen that. Moreover, uh, training ranges typically begin 10 or more miles offshore, which, according to Graves, is a significant barrier for drones. Even if they were submarine launched, we would see them descending to the ocean at some point. We'd see something. So, he's going over like, this is the deal. All right, you see, regarding balloons, Graves said, I would occasionally see small party balloons at very low altitudes. I got balloons on my radar and then saw them visually. Usually they were behaving in a predictable manner, moving with the wind, not moving very quickly. So, I mean, he said ultimately drones and balloons aren't that mystical to fighter pilots. If I see them on the radar and I can see how they're moving in the airspeed, it's not going to confuse me. In stark contrast to the military's recent UFO reports, there's no mystery with drones and balloons. So, here it is. You say, oh, it's a weather balloon or it's a drone. These are just convenient things to say, just convenient excuses, right? So, and this isn't some guy who was on Ancient Aliens, who's guessing at things with his theory or whatever. This is someone who actually did something with his life and is out there hardcore examining what's going on around him. He didn't become a fighter pilot to go looking for UFOs. This is something that has happened. And look, think of the moon landing. Think of all the stuff that's come from that. When they said that there were these saucers that were parked like a parking lot in one of these craters. These are astronauts. You think they're going to just say that? Oh, he must have been space crazy, right? Space crazy? That's a horrible thing to say. How about you have to understand it, and you have to understand uh, what to do with the information, right? So I'd be looking to communicate. But then again, do you really want to communicate with something that you know that could possibly do you in? It was Ronald Reagan, right? Remember Ronald Reagan? They kept pressing him about aliens in these press conferences, and finally he was like, "What do you want me to tell you? Yeah, there's aliens. Yeah, they're real, and yeah, they're a threat." Ooh, that room got quiet fast. People are like, "What did I just hear?" Have a nice day. All right. And here's NASA, right? NASA should be embarrassed, or Elon Musk, because of Elon. Elon Musk makes NASA look like they don't do anything. They're just a bunch of bureaucrats. NASA launches UFO. Has nothing to do with Elon Musk, by the way. I just like Elon Musk. I like his technology, his thinking, the direction, right? NASA. NASA launches UFO study despite reputational risk. So again, they're coming out with information, but it's not information. The U.S. Space Agency announcement comes as the study of identified flying objects gains more mainstream attention. So they said it best. It's gaining more mainstream attention. They have to say something. Otherwise, they're going to look like total idiots or just total liars, in which they look like anyway. They have to say something. So they're going to give you a bone. The United States Space Agency said that an independent team would examine unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, excuse me, why, with a focus on identifying available data, how to gather more data, and how NASA can analyze the findings and advance scientific understanding of said data. Yeah, there you go. NASA's science mission chief, Thomas Zurbuchen, acknowledged the traditional scientific community may see NASA as a kind of selling out by venturing. Let me tell you about the traditional scientific community, right? I was reading an article earlier in Psychology Today about people's paranormal experiences, including UFOs, ghosts and that type of thing. And basically, how these psychiatrists think it's all made up. They don't exist. They don't, they have a closed mind. They don't understand. I have pictures of ghosts, right? Pictures, not just one. I got a bunch of them, the different ones. you know, that's fine. That person wasn't in that room at that time in a solid form. I could tell you that. The camera got them. That's great. But this is the deal. If you're that ignorant and you close off this whole world, here's a scientist and you're closing off a whole world, you're never going to discover or understand anything about anything. So it just was really funny when I read that article about these guys are so cocksure that this is the deal and these people are experiencing some kind of psychological stress. Not saying that doesn't happen, but here we just talked about UFOs with a military fighter pilot who was the top dog, you know, and here he is with the info. While NASA probes and rovers scour the solar system for the fossils of ancient microbes, and its astronomers looking for so-called, you know what? You think you're going to find something in the dirt? If you're digging on Mars, there's a lot of dirt. You're gonna have to dig, dig, dig. It's been a long time, I think, since anybody inhabited that planet. Long, long, long time. And that's a lot of dirt to dig under. But this, to me, these guys are like archaeologists looking for dinosaur bones. But meanwhile, there's the dinosaur out there. Figuratively speaking, the dinosaur is out there. So, do you really think that advanced life, even though they're kind of hanging, checking us out, and by the way, this has been going on for years, but now there's a lot of it. I think at some point they're going to have to make that connection because our technology keeps growing and growing and growing. And as our technology grows, we have better ways of reaching where they are. You know, Soon we'll be going down to the bottom of the ocean with our crafts, exploring down there. Soon we'll be exploring the entire South Pole, going into the ice and checking things out. At one time it was all green and plush, right? So there's lots to explore. There's lots to check out. And now we have nuclear power, nuclear weapons, you know. So do you think that these advanced beings will be, understanding that at some point they're going to be discovered, right? And then they're going to have to just kind of fess up, saying, "Yeah, it was all us. It was all us. We did it. You guys are just a bunch of monkeys." With that think I think you're the center of the universe. So yeah, do I think that? I don't know. I think there's a truth to that. I think that humans were a creation that had to happen because something else was dying out. So I don't know, man. That's what I feel deep down, anyway. So NASA, yep, NASA, and of course it's World UFO Day. When the hell was that? A couple days ago. It was World UFO Day, observed by believers seeking the truth. The people that flock to Roswell, they're very funny. World UFO Day is an annual event that has captured the interest of many enthusiastic alien believers who recognize globally. That squeaky voice douche can go there and say, "Ooh," try to get some. I know. It's not good to feel those emotions. I know. But it's fun. It's fun, damn it. This takes place every July 2nd to commemorate the anniversary of the alleged 1947 unidentified flying object crashing in Roswell. All right, whatever, man. So, very cool, very interesting. Yeah, I definitely think that was a U.S. government craft that crashed, something that we had created. It makes sense, and of course they're going to go and take it and gather it and get it out of there because it's top secret. Of course they're going to lie about it. It's the government. They love to lie. As a matter of fact, they live to lie. I don't think anyone could tell the truth if they had to tell the truth. I think they'd be afraid to tell the truth and get sued or something, man. That's how crazy things are. So anyway, I'm going to end the show here. I hope you had a lovely time talking about these aliens, but it's communication. So think about you. If ET showed up in your closet, what the hell would you say to him? You know what I mean? Would you ask him any questions? What's the meaning of life or whatever? And how do you know that they even know? Like I said, they could be blithering idiots. Their technology could be great, but they could be total idiots. I'm leaning in that direction after looking at people and their cell phones. So I'll see you guys next week on this year's show. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Hasta luego.